Hello everyone, Paul from High Tech Legion, and I know a lot of you might have liked the performance. Some of you might have liked the looks. I know you felt it was a great deal and that it cooled very well. But unfortunately, I did get a lot of complaints from people saying that, gee, they wish it was in another color. Well, Sapphire kind of listened to you guys. But they didn't change the color of the Toxic Edition. What they did was, they went ahead and added Tri-X cooling with the three 100 millimeter fans and the vapor chamber to the 280X Vapor-X. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. First, we'll start with the box. As you can see, since it is the Vapor-X version, it is blue. It is an overclocked version. It has 3 GB of RAM, of course, Generation Core Next, and it's UEFI ready. When we switch it around to the back of the box, you'll see that it has some specifications which are there laid out fairly nice for you. It shows you a clear picture of the card, and that's roughly about it. Boxes are boxes. If you really get into boxes, then well, it's on to the accessories. Oh my gosh, here's the biggie. Of course, it comes with a Sapphire insert card. Then as we go down into our bag of tricks, we have the driver disc. And of course, that contains all your drivers and tricks, which is the overclocking software. Next, of course, we have the Crossfire bridge, and that can be used for multiple cards. Then, of course, something that a lot of manufacturers do not give to you. This would be 2 Molex 2 PCIe connectors. Then, of course, with any upper end card, they include an HDMI cable, something that I cannot seem to get enough of. And finally, you have a quick install guide and another insert, which just basically tells you where all this is one spectacular looking card. Yes, it is blue. It does have the Tri-X cooling on it. It is a vapor chamber heatsink. As you can see, the 3 fans are all 100 millimeters. It's got a 1000 megahertz base clock and an 1100 boost clock, which is only 50 less than the Toxic Edition. Something that I know you guys complained about because the Toxic Edition was orange. This is blue. It looks a lot nicer, and you're getting 50 less megahertz on the overclock with it. Video memory, it's got 3 gigs, and it is also 6,000 megahertz effective. Let's talk about the dimensions real quick. 308 millimeters on the length, on the width 108, and on the height it is 35 millimeters, which means that it is used for 2-slot cooling. Oh no, he flipped it upside down. Actually, I wanted to give you a look at what it would look like inside of your case, of course, minus, the system being around it. But as you can see, it says Vapor-X on the shroud there. That actually lights up in blue. And you can get a better look at what the heatsink looks like. You can see some of the fins there. You could also see that the heatsink does extend past the PCB itself. In a second, I'm going to go ahead and show you the S button, which is basically your UEFI BIOS button. It is set by default to legacy, so we'll take a look at that right now. If you look at the top left-hand corner just behind the second Crossfire bridge, you will see the S button. By default, it's set to legacy BIOS. If you click it in, it will then set to the UEFI BIOS, which is compatible with Windows 8.1. You'll notice that there are 2 8-pin power connectors, and you got a better look at the Vapor-X LED. When we look at the PCB itself, or the board itself, there's one thing that differs between the Vapor-X and the Toxic Edition. It does not have a full back plate like the Toxic Edition. It is still PCIe 3.0, and it does have the black diamond choke and full solid caps. Now, these black diamond chokes are going to make it run 10% cooler and also give you a 25% more power efficiency than a normal choke. When we go further to the right, you could see that the heatsink extends over, and you could also see the 3 heat pipes that are coming out of it. And finally, we'll take a look at the connectors. Of course, on top, the black, is a DVI-D port. Below that, in the white, is a DVI-I. Then to the left of that, we have an HDMI port, which is also 3D capable. And then right next to that is the display port, and that's version 1.2. So you can connect 4 monitors to this card. Like what you see so far? Let's move on to the benchmarks and see if you like it even better. Just some food for thought while you're watching the benchmarks. All settings for all games were set to ultra or the highest possible. Enjoy. While conducting the benchmarks, temperature in the house, of course I live in Florida, was 77 degrees Fahrenheit. As you can see, we had an idle temperature of 33 degrees and a load temperature of 64 degrees Celsius. Our system power consumption at idle was 50 watts and at load was 258 watts. Fan speeds were set to auto, and at idle, fans were cranking at 20% and maxed out at 36% when on load. Well, I hope you all like that. I tried something a little bit different. I listened to a few of you to see what, and what you said. So you got the radio announcer now. Now you'll go ahead and get me again. So let's talk about the Sapphire Vapor-X. Pretty impressive. Benchmark numbers were right on par, or even better than some of the other ones that are on the market. It has a very good clock speed at 1100, and it's only 50 megahertz less on the boost than the Toxic. Yes, it does not have a back plate, but it is built fairly well. It seems kind of sturdy, so I don't think you're going to get that much of a droop to the card. The Vapor-X LED looks tremendous. Sorry I didn't show it to you guys. I already boxed everything up so I could finish this review, but it looks really nice. It's a nice bright blue. It'll look good inside your case if you have a blue theme. When we look at the benchmarks themselves, you'll notice that everything was under the highest possible settings at 19 by 10. The card didn't shutter, it didn't go anywhere, and it didn't throttle because of the cooling. Cooling was very well, even at an overclock of 1170 megahertz, which is roughly 70 megahertz over the normal clock speeds, the regular set clock speed. But you have to remember, 1000 is the base clock, 1100 is the OC. So at 1170, we're looking at 170 megahertz overclock for this card, as well as the temperatures only went up 1 degree above what it was at its normal operating megahertz, meaning at 1100 it was 63, it only went up to 64. Now, of course, I'm not going to give you all the benchmark results for the overclock. We did run about 4 or 5, and we did get some good numbers, but I will tell you that in Unigen, we got an increase of 2 frames per second. From the 43.6, we went to 45.5. So that's not that bad. All in all, this is a quiet, cool card with a vapor chamber on the heatsink. Price is not that bad. It will be announced, and of course you know that it's going to be less than the Toxic. Of course, the overclock was pretty good at 170 megahertz total overclock on the card. So This is something I'm going to say you might want to purchase in the future if you are interested in the AMD R9 280X. So all I have to say is, thanks a lot, everybody. I will see you the next time. Make sure you visit us at hightechlegion.com. Please subscribe to this channel. Remember, we're giving you in-depth reviews. We actually test our product. And we're not getting paid by the manufacturers to do this. So we honestly want to provide you with the best reviews you possibly can get. Make sure you follow us on Facebook or like us on Facebook, and that's facebook.com/HTL Reviews. And of course, we do have a Twitter, and that would be twitter.com/Hightech Legion. Have a great day. I will see you the next time. Signing out. Stay thirsty. Bye-bye.